everyone. So today we're going to work on 4 foundation moves. The last video we just did basic TA breathing. Very important to know how to do. So if you haven't watched that video, I recommend you go watch it because I'm going to be incorporating that TA breathing into these 4 foundation moves that I'm going to be doing today. And then also just watch it because it does give you a little info on how to check for that separation, the diastasis recti, and then it just has a lot of good information. So make sure you watch that first so that you can come into this video with the moves that we'll be doing, with a little more knowledge on how to do especially that TA breathing. So 4 moves, again, that I'm going to be doing. These moves are very basic moves for just general public watching it. It's someone who hasn't just had a baby and has some good core work already put into place. They probably look like, oh man, that's silly. But they're really important moves. These moves are here to help you gauge where you're at in your recovery. One big thing I do want to mention, because someone asked me this when I posted my last video, is when do you start doing this type of stuff? Everyone's different. I'm 2 weeks postpartum. I have been going for easy walks since day 2. Because I started my postpartum with a little bit less of that DR, with still some core muscles, just because of the work that I had put in going into giving birth. I was a little more prepared than someone who didn't do any of that work or wasn't able to do any of that work. So you have to gauge for yourself where you're at and how you feel. Doctors always say 6 weeks. 6 weeks is for true hard exercise, weights, running, things like that. That doesn't mean don't do anything for 6 weeks. Most doctors will even say on your release documents, return to activity as you feel comfortable. And again, that doesn't mean go for a run. That means take easy walks. Start by going out for 10 minutes and then see how you feel. If you feel great, increase that time to 15 minutes and slowly do more and more. I wouldn't recommend doing anything more than like 45 minutes until you've at least, you're not bleeding anymore, your stitches are dissolved, things like that, just for recovery purposes. And then as well, with these particular moves, you can start doing these moves as soon as you feel comfortable doing these moves. Some people with stitches or severe tearing might most likely take a little longer. You might not be 2 weeks when you're starting these moves. You might be 6 weeks, and that's okay. Everyone has a different starting point, and you shouldn't be comparing yourself to the person next to you, to me, to your best friend, to anyone. You are you, your body's you, and you have to take care of yourself first. So, now that being said, these moves are all about re-engaging your core. They're about seeing where your core is at and how they feel. You shouldn't be doing these fast. These are all going to be very slow, controlled moves that go with that TA breathing. So just a quick reminder on what TA breathing is. I'm going to come back here. We're going to do some quick breathing. So remember, it's breathing in, filling up that balloon, and out, pulling up and in. So again, engaging that pelvic floor, pulling up and in so that you're engaging all of these muscles to come back together. For some people, again, You might not feel that pelvic floor engage, especially if you're 2-3 weeks out. That's not surprising. You just pushed a baby out, especially if you took longer than an hour to an hour and a half pushing. Your pelvic floor is going to be worked. You are going to have a hard time feeling it for a little while, and that's okay. If you are one of those people, for everyone, I recommend working with someone who specializes in this type of fitness, this pre and postnatal fitness, like myself, or seeing a physiotherapist who specializes in pelvic floor health. So again, everyone is going to be in a different place. Do your best. You will slowly be able to feel all of it again. It just takes a little bit. So we're going to do a few breaths here. I'm sitting down because of the way my camera's set up, but for some, coming up here is going to be the best way to do it. So just remember, you're breathing in and out. Engage. One more. Okay. So now that we've re-established what TA breathing is, you're going to be using that a lot as we do these moves. So the first move we're going to do is called a bent knee fallout. And you're just going to come down onto your back. Woohoo, ladies, you can come down onto your back and not feel like, oh, am I supposed to be here? It's always nice to be able to do those postpartum things that you couldn't do while pregnant, like tie your shoes. Okay, so here we go. Bent knee fallout. You're just going to have your knees bent, laying down, back is flat. You're going to breathe. When you breathe in with that TA breathing, you're going to drop one leg out. As you breathe out, you're engaging to bring that knee up. So this is a very, very simple move, but it makes a huge difference. So breathing in as you drop out. All the way out. So that engagement should be happening as you pull all the way back up to that start position, and you should be pulling again that pelvic floor up and in as you engage those TA muscles in this direction. So all of your core should be engaged. I swear I fed him before this. He just is moving a lot today. Okay, so we're gonna do 5 on each side. It's my cat moves. Here we go. So that's 3. We're going to do it 2 more times each side. Last side. So those are your bent knee fallouts. We did 5 just because it's easier, but when you're doing them on your own time, sometimes it's easier to time it. So 30 seconds, 60 seconds. So you're not thinking about your reps, you're thinking about your breathing. That's sometimes a better way to do it when you don't have someone like myself leading you. Okay, so next move we're going to do what's called a rolling bridge. So it's a pelvic tilt into a bridge.
the key thing with this is you should be really engaging for that pelvic tilt and then coming up into your bridge. So it's that slow roll up. And it's the same thing with the breathing. As you engage in that pelvic tilt, that's when your breath goes out. So you're engaging those pelvic floor muscles and all the way up, and then breathing in as you come down. So again, tilt. I'm going to go a little bit more sideways so you can see my hip movement here. So you can see the lift. That's just a tilt. That's a pelvic tilt. And then going into that bridge, okay? And then coming all the way down slow. It's a slow, slow movement as you come down, even because you're breathing out, laying your spine down nicely onto the ground, not just dropping it down. So we're going to do 5 again here. We're just going to do 5 on your own time. You should try to do a few more if you can, at least 30 to 60 seconds, but we're going to go through 5 movements here together. So right up, breathing out, tilt, up, and coming down. We got 2 more. One more. All the way down. Great job on those. Again, you don't have to feel your pelvic floor. If you at least can get the idea that it's kind of a sensation that you're pulling up and in, that's the most important piece. Some people, it might take a little bit. I have clients who they're fit, they're ready to go. We start working on pelvic floor stuff and they're like, I just can't feel the sensation of my pelvic floor. And that's just part of pushing a baby out, especially if you're doing it for an extended period of time. My babies come out fast. I pushed my first son out in 20 minutes and this one out in 5. So everyone's different. But if you did spend a lot of time in that pushing stage of labor, expect it to take a little while to really feel your pelvic floor again. All right, move 3. Now this one, and we're coming back down. This one's just a march. So you're going to be just bringing that knee in, right back down. Knee in, right back down. Again, slow and controlled, really engaging as you pull your knee in. It's that muscle work, and then slowly bringing it back down. So if there's any pain as you do any of these moves, really, if you feel any pain, so this is different. We're not talking like, oh, my muscles are just sore or it's a little bit hard. That's different. I'm talking about true pain. So like I'll have some clients who, again, it tends to be the ones who push for a long time. They get some pain right down here in that lower quadrant, little here, right? Almost where like if you had a C-section, that's where you get that pain. And that's just from bearing down, and those muscles are sore and tired and they take a long time to recover, especially if you hadn't done a lot of work with them prior. They're really going to be sore. So sometimes even a simple move like this might be painful. If it is painful, you stop and you just keep doing TA breathing and easy pelvic tilts until you feel like you want to try it again. Give it, a week or so, and then try it again and see where you're at. Don't push yourself. Not worth pushing yourself and causing injury. So just bringing that knee in, slowly dropping it back down, engaging those muscles. Just do a few more. Two more each side. Last one. Okay. Last move. So this one I give to a lot of my clients. It's it's another one of those moves that if it's too hard, you stop. If it feels like you're just working your muscles, there's a little shaking. Shaking is normal. Then you're good. So this one is just a heel drag, is what I call it. So you're gonna lay same. We're just gonna stay in the same position here. You're gonna take one leg out. Slowly pull it back in as you engage that core muscle. One leg out. Slowly engaging it back in. So that's the easiest version, is keeping that heel on the ground as you go out to fully straight, pulling all the way back in. As you get stronger, you're going to be able to push that leg out and keep it elevated the whole time. And then eventually you're going to be able to go into doing both your legs, or coming up and doing this type of thing, and where you keep that core engaged the whole time. But right now we're just focusing on small engagements, not static engagements. So on this one, out, engaging as you pull back in. Out. One more each side. Nice job. Okay, so those are your 4 foundation moves. There's a whole lot of other foundation moves. I'll get into them, but those are the 4 basic ones to start with, outside of the TA breathing and some easy pelvic tilts and even cat-cow. So remember, when you're doing a cat-cow, you're here, coming up. That's where you do that engagement, dropping, releasing. So out, breathing out, filling up that balloon. So those are your cat-cows. Those are a good stretch to do once you finish with these moves. It's all about re-engaging those muscles that put in a crap ton of work. Not just during birth, but prior to it as well. So I always tell all of my clients, give yourself grace. You are strong. You literally just did the equivalent of a marathon that for many of you, you probably had never planned on doing a marathon, but you just did one, giving birth. So give yourself grace. Don't expect your body to just, hey, here it is again, ready to go. It takes time. It takes focus. It takes really making sure that you're doing it right so that you don't injure yourself. So those are my moves. Do, 2 to 3 rounds. Remember, easy walks. That's what you should be focusing on right now. Nothing too crazy. No jumping, no running, no bouncing. If you have a toddler like myself, yes, you might be lifting 30 pounds. Try to convince them that you have an ouchie boo-boo like I did up until yesterday when I felt a little more comfortable lifting him. But as far as he was concerned, my tummy had an ouchie boo-boo. And it worked, and he understood. So sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't.
But, you know, doing your best to let your body recover as much as it can. Oh, now this one decides to fall asleep. That's just how it goes, right? Okay, so next time we're going to do the next step of the foundation move. So there's quite a few foundation moves. We'll go through kind of levels of them as they get a little bit harder, and then go into phase 1, 2, and 3 of this process of rebuilding and feeling better. So join me for that next video. Thanks.